The world literally changed overnight with Elon Musk announcing the launch of Grok, its conversational AI, through his company X.ai. What many of us Tesla investors have not yet fully realized, though, is that Tesla will be a major beneficiary. If you own a Tesla car, you will now likely be able to sell the use of the FSD chip in your car to make you money. This is going to turn car ownership on its head. So today's guest is Brian Wang. He's a popular science blogger with 1 million readers per month. His blog nextbigfuture.com is ranked the #1 science news blog. Thank you so much, Brian. Appreciate you joining me.
Great to be here, Herbert.
This is a very big idea. I'm so excited about this, and I'm glad that you're going to break this down for me. So basically, it starts off with this tweet with Elon Musk, and he just did this on November 4th, and he said that provided that our vehicle AI computer is able to run the model, Tesla will probably have the most amount of true usable inference compute on Earth. Then he says, if in a robotaxi future, the cars will only be used for a third of the hours per week, leaving 2/3 for distributed inference. So what I interpret that to mean, Brian, is that every one of our Tesla cars has a chip in them and it's a computer in them. And if you're willing and you want to, you can share the use of that computer to Tesla and they'll pay you for that time that you do. And so this is the largest distributed inference computer in the world if Teslas not only have their own data centers, but they can actually go and grab the compute in each of these cars. Tell me how that might work and tell me the business model.
So for hardware 4, we have about 144 trillion operations per second. Those are not the long form compute, but are shorter word things. There's about, I think, 5 million Tesla cars on the road. Not all of them have hardware 4. Some have hardware 3 at 72 or whatever. But just to simplify things, assume they have hardware 4, because later ones will have better ones. So then you're looking at about 500 exaflops. So you got gigabillion, tera trillion, peta 1,000 trillion, and then exa million trillion. So at 500 exaflops. And then if you increase the cars, then you're looking at doubling every 2 years. So by the time around 2030, you could have like 5,000 exaflops or 10,000 exaflops, especially if the chips get better. So in terms of that number of exaflops, the Dojo system that Tesla's spending probably like $1 billion to build out by the end of next year for training is looking to get to 100 exaflops. So the distributed compute is 50 to 100 times more than that. 50 times now, by next year, probably 100 times more than that system. So it's I do that around 5 to 10 times more. It's still more than that, but potentially up to 50 to 100 times more than that system. And then they don't have to pay for it. They can just get us spend the software to wrangle it together, and then they save money, we make money, and everything's wonderful.
Okay, that's a big idea. So I did not realize that the existing computers in each of our cars, if they're allowed to be a virtual, you call it a virtual AI cloud compute, a virtual power plant, you let virtual cloud computing, you let Tesla, you own the car, but you let them have access to that computer. They all of a sudden have the equivalent of Dojo supercomputer. They don't have to pay NVIDIA for those chips because they already paid it.
Right.
And this is only if I'm not using my car, and I'll be able to make money. So explain, first of all, what would they use that chip for, and then how would I make money, and how this all. So let's step by step and figure this out.
So initially, the easiest thing to do is that while they're compute constrained, like they were saying that their training of FSD, to build the centralized system to learn stuff, is that they're limited at the rate of progress by how much compute they have. So Tesla has a need to get more compute faster. So by creating some kind of app to break up a problem, just like when they were searching for extraterrestrials, analyzing telescope data, you break up the problem, you compute it in the computer, and then you hand back the answer. So they break that up their problems so that you can put, okay, I'll put one piece to one car, another piece to another million cars. Then they all work on the problem, and then they send back the computed answers to those things. So that's how the SETI stuff has worked. It's been done for protein folding. It's been done for analyzing astronomical data. Similarly, they could all they need to do is break up the problems, and then they can put use all the different vehicles to compute the answers to that. And it is currently a limiting factor on their solving FSD, so they can get that solved faster. Then, if they have more um, demand for AI computing, which Elon says, because AI computing is so valuable, that there's going to be a need for 10 times or 100 times as many data centers for that. This again lets them accelerate to have a distributed data center for any customers and needs that they have from XAI or from Twitter X, whatever need for compute there is from customers, then they can sell that. So I think that would become more valuable to the people who own the cars, because if Tesla's paying us for compute for their own needs, they want to be lower than the cost of them building it themselves, lower than the cost of Dojo. But if they are selling to other customers, and they can make that highly profitable, 5 times, 10 times more profitable than their cost, then there's more revenue to split with customers. So the more marketing success they have, the more AI use cases, highly valuable things that they can do, then the more money there is to share to the virtual compute cloud, which I have solar and power walls, and I'm in California. They had the virtual power plant where PG&E, the utility, would pay $2 per kilowatt hour for emergency need for compute, and then each event would generate about $40 to $60 for each person like me when they needed that power for a day. Similarly, if there was a customer that needed virtual cloud compute at the higher rates, you can make more money the more customers there are for AI.
Okay. So my car has a computer in it, and I'm going to be able to make money as I share it. So let's walk through the business model of how that is. You put together this slide, and you called it
Mhm.
virtual AI cloud compute, virtual cloud compute, VCC, is
Yep.
very similar to the virtual power plant that you just described. So when you
Yep.
say these numbers, almost up to $1,000 per car with Tesla usage, is that to me or is that to Tesla, or what is that number?
I'm saying that they would pay us for that.
Wow.
If it's about $1 billion per million cars for all
Uh-huh.
that compute, where it's like, 144 um, petaflops, whatever, that
Yeah.
if it's that valuable for them, then potentially they could pay us that amount. If it's not as valuable, I ballparked it, of course, in order to me to be able to compute it in my head, right? But if it's less, then it's maybe, only $100 million per car, then you're looking at, $100 per million cars, right? If it's $100 million, but roughly at a billion, then you're looking at $1,000 per car. But again, it's their cost. So then the next line, about $1,000 to $4,000 per car per year, is selling this to customers, like um, um, someone who's using the XAI system, like direct customers or business customers who are buying XAI. Then they're paying Tesla, and they're paying Tesla a margin on top of their costs. So then that more valuable sale means more money to us potentially, if Tesla's can monetize it better. But not Tesla, but XAI can monetize it better. So the more success XAI has in terms of monetizing AI, then the more money that we can make. Although there is a possibility of creating apps for other companies to say, we want to use your distributed compute cloud, we want to load apps over to your system, and then so just like the App Store, iTunes type Apple model, where other people are putting out things to run on a smartphone or on something else.
How much is this to me? That's what I'm just trying to understand. Is this per year? Is this a one-time thing
I
for
think I
car
think
ownership?
I think it
Mhm.
potentially could be that good per year. It would take time to reach that level,
Yeah,
but so I think in the early days it's $200 to $1,000, but then the more selling success they have, I could see it growing over say 5 years to that level
per year.
per year. Yeah.
Okay, and what does this mean? Monetize energy and compute.
So
And
that's
it's
what they're
not
doing with the
just
virtual.
compute, it's also energy?
Well,
Yeah.
that's what we're already doing with virtual power plant for the power walls, right?
Yeah.
Where
Can you do
they're
that with your batteries in your car?
if they do the vehicle to grid, which is what supposedly the rumor is Cybertruck will do. So before Elon said at one of the previous shareholder meetings or whatever like that, no, I don't think vehicle to grid makes sense or whatever like that. But if they are um, getting more customers and monetizing and having more need for the storage, then um, there is this revenue model where because a vehicle, you know, a Model Y 75 kilowatt hours, that's about 5 times the power of a Powerwall at 13 kilowatt hours, and the 130 kilowatt hour, premium Cybertruck could have nearly 10 times as much energy as the Powerwall. So depending upon how aggressively this is pursued and how much demand there is, then potentially there's a need for a lot more um, but using your vehicle as a Powerwall, there's a delay in getting it. Of course, you can't fully use it all the time because the Powerwall is just sitting on your wall in your home while your car you're using it, and so there's a portfolio of different kinds of ways to make money with the various vehicles of the batteries and the chips for that. So it again depends upon use cases. You don't want to have it interfere, but there is this revenue generating potential where something sitting there is not depreciating; it's generating money.
Yeah, okay. Let's stick to the FSD for now instead of the power
Right.
battery. But
Right.
the so let's walk me through again. Just let's be very, very
Yep.
clear. So I've got the chip. I get that. I am going to
Yep.
give time to Tesla will pay for it because they need as much as possible. I get it. Tesla themselves, how are they going to make money with this? Because they need it for their own. They've got their own Dojo supercomputer. They have
Mm.
NVIDIA supercomputers that they've paid. They said they're going to
Mm.
spend $2 billion per year building out the largest supercomputers in the world.
Yep.
They need that. Now they've got this additional compute that's available through distributed cars.
Yep.
But then you were saying that X.AI, which is Elon's other company
Yep.
that is separate from Tesla, they are creating conversational AI. They just released Grok, and
Mm-hmm.
Grok is very similar to ChatGPT, and it's going to be powering, not only X,
Mm-hmm.
previously known as Twitter, but it's going to be powering the bots. It's going to be powering the Tesla cars, so you can actually talk to your car.
Yep.
So and then it'll probably be selling its services to X subscribers,
Mm-hmm.
and then also anybody. So when they make money, so when XAI makes money, they will be paying. You're believing that XAI will be paying Tesla for access to the supercomputer.
Right. Right. I
Okay,
believe that's the
walk me
case.
through that. Yeah.
So OpenAI, they got ahead because they, built billions of dollars of compute in order to power their ChatGPT,
Mhm.
and um, so all these AI things have a huge demand for compute, and if you have a ready to go a larger amount of compute, then you can monetize that because they can sell it for $20 a month subscriptions or whatever else people are paying the AI to figure
Mhm.
out for them. They're helping with their business model and all this kind of stuff. So the reason that is more money if that's successful is that instead of saving $2 billion per year to Tesla for doubling up their Dojo and NVIDIA compute capability or 10xing it, then instead of building 10, $20 million worth of compute for XAI or for um, being able to sell, tens of billions of dollars of AI services, this would enable that to happen faster. That they could get XAI can race ahead of OpenAI by instantly having 500 exaflops of compute versus like it's taking a year to get to the 100 exaflops of Dojo or 2 years to get to that level. So by and they're adding 500 exaflops. Like if you're adding another 5 million cars, say over another 2 years, I'm doubling that up. So the amount of compute available from the cars is out there faster and cheaper than all these other things. And like I said, that the XAI, if we believe OpenAI and XAI have this valuable AI market, tens of billions of dollars, then they can make big, thick margins from that, from replacing Google search or doing something like that. And that's the potential share of revenue that they could say, okay, we make 80% margin on this, 40% goes to us, 40% goes to the customers who are sharing with. Probably a different ratio, maybe like 60-20. But the more money they make, then the more they can afford, makes sense to commercially give to
Right.
the people who are enabling it.
Okay, so that part I get. So I think that there was talk about Dojo as a service. So Dojo is a supercomputer. Tesla bought NVIDIA's chips, but they also are creating Dojo chip to create the supercomputer. And there's this potential that once you have this set up, you can sell the access to that supercomputer to other companies, and that could be he was saying hundreds of billions of dollars of that service. Now that our cars could act like a virtual compute, it could also be like a car compute as a service, right? The computer
Right.
that's in our cars can be sold as a service, and that's what exactly we're talking about.
Right.
And then one of the first customers could be X.AI because they have a conversational AI. They need it. And so they could be paying us. And that's what you're saying. That could be one customer. But it
Right.
could
Right.
be
Right.
any company that wants access to compute. Now you've got Dojo, you've got the virtual cloud computing through the cars. Tesla
Yeah.
could sell that. And then
Right.
as they sell that, because Tesla doesn't own this, you own it,
Right.
you get a revenue share.
Right. 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 And your revenue share could be if others are doing this and saying, okay, we have,
Yeah.
I can load other apps, just like I can load SETI, I can load protein folding, I can choose which one I want to load.
Yeah.
I can, if they'll pay me more, someone else can pay me more, then it's not just Tesla who's competing for it, someone else. So then my share can go up because I'm not a captive market per se,
Yeah.
right? If it's a more open platform of computing.
Okay. That is just mind blowing. It's just one other additional idea of how me as a car owner can make money. So let's
Yeah.
walk through how does it might actually impact my cost of ownership.
Yeah.
So you've got this slide here, which is a Tesla Model 3 cost to own, and it's a what is it? The four-door
Four-door
sedan.
sedan. Yeah,
Yep.
it's a model. Yeah.
And it's just the
5-year
cost
cost
to
of ownership. Yep.
go ahead and explain what
It's
you're
5-year
saving.
cost of ownership. So adding it up, it's about just short of $10,000 per year. Where you have depreciation, half the price goes away, or $23,000 goes away over 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then assuming that you financed it, that you borrowed money for that, your interest payments are $9,000, taxes and fees are $3,500. Your fuel, the electricity is just short of $3,000. Insurance is 5,800, maintenance
Okay.
2,200, repairs 2,200. Right. But if you are making $1,000 a year
Uh-huh.
from virtual cloud computing revenue share, then that could take out, your maintenance and electricity almost, like, 3,000, 2,000, $5,100 over 5 years. So then that drops your cost of ownership, by 12% from $49,000 to $44,000. And then if they improve that in the later years to get to $2,000, $3,000 per year, then you could save $10,000, which could take out, insurance, repairs, and maintenance or something like that, to reduce your cost of ownership by 25%.
Right. Okay, so that's a big number, decent. It's significant.
Mhm.
And then Uh, okay, so let's walk me through now the other assets for the customers. I saw this. So you've got
Yeah,
these are all the ways that we can possibly make money, right? Walk me through
right.
this.
So, power walls and solar already have the virtual power plant. They also
Right.
have a net metering in cases. So I own that. So basically, when I'm not using my power, because I'm generating it during the day from, during sunlight from like 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, which I may not be using my full power. I'm using most of my power, say from 6 to 9. So then I can run my meters backwards and provide power to the grid, so the utility will pay for that.
Right.
But then there's emergency events where they'll pay $2 per kilowatt hour because we're overloaded. They have contracts where they need to keep Intel and other guys running, or they have huge penalties, so they're willing to pay emergency funding. So that's where I can make money from Powerwall and solar. For me, my Powerwall and solar say cost $30,000 to install, after tax credits. In the first year from VPP, virtual power plant, and from the net metering, I got like $5,000 back from that. I think 1,000 or something of that was VPP, and then 4,000 was from net metering and the other things. So basically, reduces my cost of ownership of the power walls and the solar. Megapacks, they sell to utilities or to large customers at 3.9 megawatt hours. So they're basically a larger version of power walls and solar where they make money from that. And they also have something called auto bidder, which helps them to, because the price of electricity fluctuates throughout the day or throughout the weeks and stuff like that. So then they can, store it when it's cheap, sell it when it's more expensive. So then they make money off that system. Cars and FSD chips, we've been discussing that, how that
Mm-hmm.
the virtual cloud computing. Tesla bots can also
Mm.
do things. They can do profitable tasks, like they can grow food and run a
Right.
garden or something like that,
Yep.
move things around, do Uber Eats, but then they can also do virtual cloud compute, and they also have like two
Their
kilowatt
batteries.
hours, 3 kilowatt hours batteries. They can also do energy money. So if I have like 10 of those things
Yep.
around, I can make money. The interesting thing about the VCC and virtual power plant is the thing, my asset is staying where it is. It's not like going away and doing some job. It's staying in the corner, just connected to
Yeah.
the internet and to the grid, and sending off its services elsewhere. And then, hey, I need you now. It just,
Yep.
okay, disconnects. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm focused on your task. So it just
So
constantly making money for you. So it's again changing the whole cost of ownership thing, where it's like, okay, I'm buying a car, I'm paying $9,000, $10,000 per year to own it, and then if this gets stronger and stronger, one, it becomes virtually free, or it can actually become profitable as the car price drops in half and a third. Then now, instead of costing $50,000 to buy it, $4,000 to buy it, it only costs $15,000 to buy it. And I still have all the batteries because I still have 75 kilowatt hour of the batteries. So they're just, $20 per kilowatt hour to make or something like that. Then the revenue generation stays nearly as strong from the from the energy, and then the chips get 10 times better, and I can, it probably will all come down because, eventually the supply will increase and the demand will reduce, but it will, the economics could become more powerful where um, everything doesn't depreciate, like the power, my car, my bots, they're all making money for me all the time. So it again, like I said, turn things on its head, where
mm,
everything that I buy from Tesla is making money for me.
yeah. Tell me what you're thinking is timing wise. And so, I mean, we
Mhm,
have our cars. It's got the FSC chip in them already.
mhm,
They're already spending money on Dojo, so they're creating their own supercomputer. Now, because of XAI launching Grok, and as that is already starting to make money, because Elon said that if you are on X, previously known as
mhm,
Twitter, and you pay for the Premium Plus service, you get access to Grok. It's just like
mhm,
OpenAI is charging $20 a month to be able to get the premium version of their ChatGPT.
mhm.
So there's revenue being made by X. And then, so because of that, when would they then need to do this? And when would you think that this could roll out?
If it can be applied to the some aspect of accelerating FSD development, which I'm not sure, maybe it's the wrong kind of compute for it. Maybe it doesn't work that way. Um, if it did, then there could be a need, as fast they could develop the app, which for Elon and the programmers, maybe a month or two to distribute some things and get it out loaded and tested and that kind of stuff. So then that could, start making people, $10 a month or something like that. But if it's uh, needs to have XAI fully launched, then there may be some kind of scaling ramping thing to, one has to come off of um, early beta. So, some few months, into Q2 to get some scale. I think Q2, Q3 that XAI could get to the point where it needs it, or some other one of the other companies, X could have some need for distributed computing. So I think the Elon group of companies could have a need for a compute, and have a compute shortage, and where they could tap into this service first. They'd be the first users for it, and then to get a PG&E like customer to do like virtual power plant, that's a bit longer because the other people have to kind of get their act together to need it. But I could see the first revenue, just like the virtual power plant, that happened roughly quickly within 6-9 months or whatever of them announcing the idea. They had the first events where people were making money off that, $20 per event. So it could be initial trial where it's like, okay, just some people do it, but I definitely would be surprised if by the end of next year, some significant group of Tesla owners did not get a first $10 a month from this service.
Wow. Okay, that's very soon. That's by 2024, and I think I have to agree with you because the demand for compute has just exponentially rose because of people now realizing that this is AI's here. AI boom is real. Everybody's buying Nvidia chips. There's going to be many other chip makers out there. Even Tesla said that Elon has said that this is it's virtually everything is bought already today. And so there's a need for this so high for AI chips, and
Right.
and we've got them sitting in our cars. And
Right.
what a treat that would be if I could start making
Right.
money.
Yeah. And also there's a whole Tesla economy thing where eventually they can say, okay, instead of paying you straight money, we'll give you free charging time. So then it becomes this offsetting thing where they pay you in stuff that's lower cost for them but higher value to you. So then it's a bit of a swapping thing. So then they can create this world economy, which also from the Twitter, when they want to make it a WeChat, PayPal kind of thing, then they can create this financial economy where it's significant, like 10-20% of all my costs, energy and compute, becomes this virtual economy. So they can use that again to leverage off of the thing. So it's all the stuff kind of plays together.
Yeah, I mean, one example would be like when Grok intelligence AI is now added to our cars. Is that going to be Tesla paying XAI for that service, and then allowing us owners have it, or do we need to pay for that extra service? And what do you think Grok AI could deliver, the value could deliver to the car, right? So people, you can basically talk to your car. Your car is a supercomputer, a super intelligent.
Right.
I could say, drive me to McDonald's, and not this one, it's the other one. Turn around now, do a U-turn, park the car, whatever. I can, and then I can say, tell me as you drive by this monument, tell me the history about it.
Right.
Basically, you have access to a super computer right then and there. But maybe they'll say, in order to get access to that, you have to give up your compute power to exchange for that service. What's your guesses of how this
I think it's
grok could help make my
yeah.
cars better?
I think it's cleaner to have those transactions separate. Just like right
Mm,
now, I get my virtual power plant, I paid for it, but I get a check
yeah.
back from them as opposed to mixing it. Oh, I'll offer discounts. It's like you buy it and then you can make money from it in
Right.
separate transactions. And just like I can pay $20 a month or $16 a month for X premium. I get
Hmm.
Grok and then I use it in my car and do whatever I want.
Hmm.
I'm not restricted by it. And then keeping all the transactions separate is, you know, just makes more sense. It's one, they are separate companies, so they have to have their own P&L. So it's just cleaner to have everything separate. But in terms of the experience, it's like the more they take over the driving, then the more they can add in entertainment, business productivity work, then the more that you use Grok for those activities of entertainment or productivity. Um, it does, we pretty much do have all of that, the old TV show Knight Rider kind of thing of the car driving around and talking to the car and that kind of thing. But I felt a low bar because the reality is going to be far more powerful.
Okay. There's one thing that I'm still kind of confused on, and that what exactly is the computer chip that's in my car? Elon has referred to it that if you are able to access all of this, all the cars, that it's the largest inference computer. Just give me a quick explanation of what is inference computer? How powerful is this really? I know that FSD is making decisions in the car. It's not necessarily having to grab it from a supercomputer anymore. So it's pretty
Mhm.
powerful, right? But just tell me how really powerful is that computer in my car?
So the hardware for the 144 trillion operations. So it's I think a shorter, like the supercomputers use 64-bit compute. AI tends to use 8 or 16-bit because it doesn't have to be as precise. Um, so hardware 3, I think, has 72 um, trillion operations. So if they make a hardware 5 or 6, then it'll continue to get more and more powerful. Um, so that level of compute is, um, definitely more than the Intel chips, but it's a different kind of computing. For the inference aspects of it, so it's making AI decisions and that kind of thing. So, I think that's different from the training compute stuff. But I admit I'm not as familiar with the exact differences. I need to study up on that, and perhaps one of the other AI experts who come on will be able to explain it better. A Dama or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. We need to explain it better.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so this is pretty interesting, and it's just
Mhm.
another new thing that many of us were not even thinking about. We kind of get hope that there was going to be this the battery that's in our car. We'll be able to send back the battery, the electricity,
Yeah.
but energy. Um, but you said only the Cybertrucks, they are promised to be able to do that. What about my car?
So the the current Tesla cars do not have vehicles to grid, where you
Right.
can't send power back from the car to. You can power from the grid into your car, but you can't go back the other way. Um, but according to the most recently released specs for Cybertruck, if they're true, is that it will allow to have a 240 volt plug that can then send power to other things, back to your home, back to powering, you know, a washing machine or whatever it is. So it can send power back the other way, which was a change from what Elon was saying some while ago, that people don't need that. But I think that because the other Lightning, Rivian, I think, do that, then he had to step up, and that is opening the door to unlocking the equivalent of 5 power walls or 10 power walls um, for um, for grid usage for powering your home and to sell that
Yes,
power.
for the Cybertruck. Yeah. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other ideas here? So if they can grab that compute from my car computer, is there anything else that's going to unlock?
Well, I think it can, if it can run other apps and stuff, then it becomes, this massive. It could become. I'm not sure how big that is because it's a lot of complication to send it out there. But it is for those things where you need the value. Then there are other apps that Tesla can make and that other
So you're
companies
talking
could
about
then
an
load.
app store. Some people have been talking about this. Tell me
Right.
the app store idea. What is that? So in my car, I can already see that the way that they're setting it up is very much like an app store. What are some
Right.
ideas of an app that I can install in my car that's going to benefit me? That's yeah.
Well, different entertainment apps like
Mm.
different games and stuff like that. So if you're doing, um, it's like your smartphone that you do apps for entertainment, for productivity, and so you can load that onto your system for your own personal entertainment, and then with this networking of machines, then
Mhm.
you could have some kind of like group form of application or compute where many things are kind of working together, either in a game or for something kind of productivity wise. You could do something.
Okay. So okay. Okay, I think that's the other big idea then. So if I have a computer and it has a chip in it, then it can run certain software in it because it's powerful
Right.
enough for that software. But if you're saying that
Right.
if my computer is distributed and is connected to everything else, could almost grab other people's compute if I needed it to run a certain app, you can now
Right.
increase the power of that app in my car because it's not just my car. It's going to be like I'm going to grab 100 cars and they're all going to help me compute this complicated game or simulation or whatever it is, right? So
Right. Right. Right.
maybe I can run
Right.
a virtual reality environment within my car because
Right.
it's not just my one car's computer. I can grab 100 more just for that one, 30-minute experience or something like that. Maybe.
Right. 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 So it depends how seamless it gets, and if what the trade offs are in terms of complexity versus value. So it's a open question as to how big it gets and you know how that works out.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you so much, Brian. You need to follow him on X at Next Big Future. He has his website, and his website is amazing because you've got deep dive research on quite a number of topics, not just Tesla. You are very much a tech, science,
Mm,
and you've been recognized as having
thank you.
pretty well one of the best blogs out there, and specifically in science. And so you
Mm.
got to check out his analysis. Thank you so much, Brian. Talk to you
Thank
soon.
you, Herbert.